And Daniel, standing in the dim break room, watching a soldier rebuild herself piece by fragile piece, knew this wasn't just routine anymore. This wasn't just morning coffee or hallway greetings. This was something shifting quietly in the fabric of his life, but he didn't know exactly when the shift happened. Maybe it was when she stepped through the doorway looking like she'd been carrying the entire night on her shoulders. Maybe it was when she whispered her son's name with a kind of love that hurt to hear. Maybe it was when she laughed, really laughed, for the first time in what seemed like weeks, but whatever the moment was, it had changed something in him, something subtle but undeniable, that he found himself watching her now, not intrusively, but with the awareness of someone who recognized another human being quietly drowning. And he couldn't shake the instinct to keep her afloat. Maya sipped the coffee slowly. Her eyelids fluttered as warmth seeped into her body. It wasn't strength, not yet. But it was fuel. Enough to stop her from collapsing. "Do you ever feel like you're held together by tape?" she asked suddenly. His eyebrows rose. "Tape?" She gestured weakly with the mug. "You know. Like you're walking around looking functional, but if one more thing goes wrong, just one, you'll come apart?" Daniel let out a soft laugh. "More times than I can count." "What did you do?" she asked. Not as small talk. Not as a casual question. But as someone desperate for a real answer. He took a moment before responding. His eyes drifted to the hallway outside, where the morning sun was beginning to stretch across the floor. "I held my daughter," he said quietly. "And then I got up the next day. Even when I didn't want to." "That simple?" she asked. "No," he admitted. "But simple doesn't mean easy." She nodded slowly, staring at the coffee as if searching for meaning at the bottom of the cup. The baby stirred again, making a soft sound that echoed into the warm stillness. Maya instinctively rocked a little, her hand resting gently on Ethan's head. Daniel watched the reflexive tenderness in that gesture. It was instinct. Survival. Love pressed into muscle memory. "You're good with him," Daniel said again, more firmly than before. Maya closed her eyes. "I'm so tired of trying to be good at everything." "What makes you think you have to be?" "Because everyone expects me to be." "And what do you expect from yourself?" Daniel asked, her eyes opened. They were raw. Fragile. "But steady. I expect myself not to fall apart," she whispered. "That's not a fair expectation." "But it's the only one I have left." For a moment, Daniel didn't speak. Then he stepped forward and gently pulled out a stool across from her. He didn't sit right away. He waited. She looked up, surprised, unsure. "Is it okay if I sit?" he asked softly. It was a small question. But for someone like Maya, someone used to people invading, commanding, dismissing, it mattered. She nodded. "Yeah. It's okay." "Saturday, he said thoughtfully, "falling apart isn't a weakness. It's a sign you're human." She let out a dry laugh. "Humanity isn't a luxury they train us for." "No," he agreed. "But it's something you're allowed to keep, even if they forget to tell you that." She looked at him for a long time. And Daniel realized she wasn't just looking, she was searching. Searching for sincerity. For safety. For someone who didn't see her as a uniform first and a mother second. Her voice dropped. "You sound like someone who's been there." Daniel's throat tightened. "I have." "What happened?" she asked gently. He hesitated. The kind of hesitation that came from holding memories too painful to touch. But something in her face, something quietly brave, made him trust her with a part of himself he rarely shared. "My wife died when Lily was 2 months old," he said softly. Maya inhaled sharply. "I'm so sorry." "It's been years," he said. "But some moments feel like yesterday." She didn't ask how she died. She didn't need to. The grief in his voice said enough. "How did you manage?" she whispered. "I didn't," he said. "Not at first. I stopped sleeping. I couldn't think straight. And the worst part was everyone assuming I'd be fine because I wasn't the one who carried her. They thought grief worked like math. Like mine should have been smaller." Maya's fists tightened on her mug. "That's not how grief works," she said. "No," he agreed. "But sometimes people pretend it does." She lowered her gaze, and he could tell instantly that his words hit somewhere deep inside her. He leaned forward slightly. You lost someone too, didn't you? Her breath caught. And for a moment, she didn't answer, then she nodded once, small and trembling. Yeah. Ethan's father, he asked gently. Another nod. I'm sorry, he said. She swallowed. He didn't die. He just walked away. He said he wasn't ready. That I was making him choose between his life and mine. Daniel's jaw clenched. The kind of clench a man gets when he hears something that makes him want to break the nearest wall, but he didn't show anger on his face. That wasn't what she needed. Choosing someone shouldn't feel like losing your life, Daniel said softly. That's what I thought, she murmured. But he didn't agree. She blinked rapidly, fighting the burn in her eyes. She wasn't the kind of woman who cried easily. Not because she didn't feel, but because life had taught her that tears had consequences. They call me strong, she continued. My commanders. My peers. My family. Everyone. But no one sees how much it hurts. How much I'm just. She broke off, unable to finish. Daniel leaned forward. Not touching her. Not crowding her. Just being closer, Maya, he said, voice quiet but steady. Strength doesn't erase pain. And needing help doesn't erase strength. She looked up at him, startled by the gentleness in his tone. My daughter needed me, he continued. But I also needed people. I just didn't know how to say it. So I fell apart quietly. You don't have to do that. Her lips parted. I don't have anyone. You have me, Daniel said before he even thought about it. She froze. He felt the weight of his own words a second later, but he didn't back away from them. I mean, he clarified softly, if you ever need someone to talk to, or sit with, or just not be alone around, I'm here. Every morning. Same place. Her breath shook. Why would you do that? You barely know me. Daniel smiled faintly. Knowing someone has nothing to do with helping them. Her lashes lowered. She looked down at her baby, then back at him, as if reassessing the entire world she knew. You really mean that? She asked. I do. The silence that followed wasn't the kind that hurt. Not anymore. It was soft. Warm. A blanket instead of a blade, she exhaled, long and shaky. Thank you, Daniel. He gave a small nod. Any time. The baby wriggled again, making a soft sound. Maya looked at him with a tenderness Daniel hadn't seen in her before, gentle, vulnerable, hopeful. You should get a few minutes of rest, Daniel said softly. I'll keep an eye on things. She blinked slowly. I can't sleep here. You can close your eyes for 3 minutes, he said. 3 minutes doesn't make you weak. She hesitated. But her exhaustion was deeper than habit, deeper than fear, deeper than pride. She leaned her head back against the wall, her eyes fluttered, then closed. Daniel watched her breathe, watched the tension in her shoulders ease, even if only by a thread, watched the baby sleep peacefully against her chest, as if sensing, for once, his mother wasn't falling apart, and Daniel knew, with a clarity that settled deep inside him, where this moment mattered. This morning mattered, this woman and her child, strangers only. Days ago, had somehow become important in a way he didn't understand yet, but he would soon, very soon, because lives didn't shift like this without a reason, and Daniel Alvarez was finally beginning to feel the world changing again, not in the shattering way it had changed years ago, but in a way that built something new. Something fragile. Something real, something he couldn't ignore. If you want, I can write white heavy checkmark next chapter, part 2. White heavy checkmark more emotional build-up white heavy checkmark romantic slow burn version white heavy checkmark 5 photo prompts for this chapter just tell me.